Imagine this, a young woman, her car sputtering and smoking on a lonely highway under a blazing sun, miles from anywhere. She's frustrated, maybe a little scared, thinking this is the worst day of her life. But what if this breakdown wasn't just a stroke of bad luck? What if it was fate pulling her toward a tiny, forgotten town, and a man who'd change everything? In the next few minutes, you're gonna dive into a story that's got it all. Mystery, romance, and a twist of destiny that'll leave you wondering if the universe is really out there playing matchmaker. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why that car broke down and why she never left that town. This is A Car Breakdown Brought Her to a Town, and a Man She'd Never Leave, and trust me, you're not gonna want to click away. Let's set the scene. You're driving alone, right? Maybe you're blasting your favorite playlist, windows down, feeling free. Then, out of nowhere, your car starts making this awful noise. The dashboard lights up like a Christmas tree, and before you know it, you're coasting to a stop on the side of some dusty road. That's where we meet Ellie, a 28-year-old graphic designer from Chicago, who's just trying to get to a friend's wedding in Colorado. She's got her whole life planned out: career, apartment, maybe even a dog someday. But plans? They have a funny way of falling apart. When her old sedan gives up the ghost, Ellie's stranded in the middle of nowhere, with no cell service and no idea what to do next. You ever been in a spot like that? Where you feel like the world's just decided to throw you a curveball? That's where Ellie is, and I bet you can feel that knot in her stomach, that mix of annoyance and worry. But here's the thing. This moment, this breakdown, is about to flip her life upside down in ways she never saw coming. And I'm gonna walk you through every step of it, so you feel like you're right there with her. Now, let's talk about you for a second. You clicked on this video because you love a good story, don't you? You're the kind of person who gets hooked on those trending YouTube tales, the ones with romance, a dash of drama, and a mystery that keeps you guessing. You're here for the feels, the what-ifs, the moments that make you lean closer to the screen. And I'm not gonna let you down. This story's got all that and more. It's not just about a car breaking down or a chance meeting. It's about what happens when life forces you to slow down and notice the things, and the people, you might have missed. Ellie's story is gonna hit you right in the heart, because it's about taking risks, finding love in unexpected places, and maybe even believing in something bigger than yourself. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's dive into this together. I'm talking to you, the one who's already wondering. Who's this man she meets? What's so special about this town? And why does she stay? Keep watching, because I promise, you're gonna get those answers. Picture this little town Ellie stumbles into. It's called Willow Creek, a speck on the map somewhere in the American Midwest, the kind of place you drive through and forget 5 minutes later. Faded storefronts, a diner with a neon sign that flickers, and fields stretching out as far as the eye can see. It's got that small-town charm, but there's something else. A vibe, a secret humming under the surface. Maybe it's the way the locals look at Ellie when she walks into the diner, her phone dead and her clothes dusted with road grit. They're friendly, sure, but their smiles don't quite reach their eyes. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and everyone seems to know something you don't? That's what Ellie's feeling as she sits at the counter, sipping lukewarm coffee, waiting for the tow truck. And that's when he walks in. Jake. He's got that rugged small-town look, flannel shirt, work boots, eyes that seem to see right through you. He's not just any guy. He's the kind of person who makes you feel like you've known him forever, even though you just met. There's a spark when their eyes lock, a moment that feels like it could mean something. But here's the kicker. Jake's got a past, and Willow Creek's got secrets. And Ellie? She's about to get caught up in both. I want you to think about something as we go deeper into this. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like life was trying to tell you something? Maybe it was a random encounter, a gut feeling, or even a disaster that turned out to be a blessing in disguise. That's what this story's about. Those moments that seem like accidents but might just be the universe nudging you toward where you're meant to be. Ellie didn't plan to end up in Willow Creek. She didn't plan to meet Jake or get tangled up in the mysteries of this town. But as you're watching this, I want you to feel like you're on this journey with her. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna gasp, and yeah, you might even tear up a little. Because this isn't just Ellie's story. It's a story about all of us. About love, about second chances, about finding home in the last place you'd expect. And I'm right here with you, guiding you through every twist and turn, making sure you don't miss a single moment. So, don't you dare hit that back button. You're in this now, And I'm not letting you go until you know exactly what happens. Let's talk about Jake for a minute. He's not your typical heartthrob, okay? He's got scars, literal and figurative. He's a mechanic, the guy who shows up to tow Ellie's car, but there's more to him than grease-stained hands and an easy grin. He's lived in Willow Creek his whole life, and he knows its history better than anyone. There's a reason he's still here, when most folks his age have packed up and left. Something, or someone, keeps him tied to this place. When he offers to help Ellie, it's not just about fixing her car. There's a connection, a pull between them that neither of them can explain. You ever met someone like that? Someone who makes you feel like the world just got a little smaller, a little warmer? That's what's happening here, and it's electric. But there's a catch. Jake's hiding something, and Ellie's starting to notice the way he dodges certain questions, the way his jaw tightens when she asks about the town. And then there's Willow Creek itself. The more time Ellie spends there, the more she realizes this isn't just a sleepy little town. There's a story here, one that's been buried for years, and it's got something to do with Jake, and maybe even with her. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there, maybe with your phone in hand, wondering, what's the big mystery? Why does Ellie stay? What's up with Jake and this town? And I'm telling you, you're gonna find out. This video is packed with all the trending stuff you love. Romance that gives you butterflies, drama that keeps you on edge, and a mystery that'll have you theorizing in the comments. But here's my master move to keep you hooked. I'm not just telling you a story. I'm making you feel like you're part of it. You're Ellie, stranded on that road. You're the one meeting Jake, feeling that spark, sensing that something's not quite right. You're the one who's gonna stick around to uncover the truth. And I'm right here, your storyteller, your friend, guiding you through every heartbeat of this tale. So, let's make a deal. You keep watching, and I'll keep delivering. You're not just a viewer, you're in this adventure with me, and we're not stopping until we know every secret Willow Creek is hiding. As Ellie settles into Willow Creek, waiting for her car to be fixed, she starts to notice things. Little things at first. The way the diner waitress lingers when she talks about Jake. The old photos on the wall, showing a town that used to be something more. The way Jake's eyes flicker with something. Guilt? Fear? When Ellie asks about his family. She's curious, and you know how curiosity works. It's like an itch you can't ignore. Ellie starts asking questions, poking around, and the more she learns, the more she realizes she's stumbled into something bigger than a broken car or a chance romance. There's a reason her car broke down on that road. There's a reason she ended up in Willow Creek. And there's a reason Jake's looking at her like she's the key to something he's been running from for years. What is it? What's the secret that's got this town in a chokehold? And why does Ellie feel like she's been here before, like she's meant to be here? You're gonna have to keep watching to find out, because just when Ellie thinks she's getting close to the truth, something happens that changes everything, and it's gonna leave you hanging, desperate for more. Right where we left off, Ellie's standing in the heart of Willow Creek, her car still at Jake's garage, and her curiosity burning hotter than the midday sun. She's been in this town for less than a day, but it's already sinking its hooks into her. The air feels heavy, like it's carrying whispers of stories no one's willing to tell. Ellie's not the kind of person to sit still. She's a problem solver, a digger, someone who needs to know why things happen the way they do. You know that feeling, don't you? When you sense there's more to a situation than what's on ceilings, and you can't help but tug at the loose threads. That's Ellie right now, sitting at the counter of Mabel's diner, her coffee long gone cold, watching the locals move through their routines like actors in a play. There's Mabel herself, a wiry woman in her 60s with a sharp tongue and eyes that miss nothing, wiping down tables with a rag that's seen better days. There's a group of old-timers in the corner, their voices low, their glances darting toward Ellie every now and then. And then there's Jake, who's just stepped out to check on her car, leaving Ellie with a nagging sense that he's avoiding her questions on purpose. This town, these people, they're all part of a puzzle, and Ellie's determined to piece it together. You're right there with her, aren't you? Wondering what secrets Willow Creek is hiding, what Jake's not saying, and why Ellie feels this strange pull to stay when she should be itching to leave. Let's dive deeper into this story, because the more we uncover, the more questions we're gonna find. Willow Creek wasn't always this quiet. That much Ellie's starting to figure out. The diner's walls are a time capsule, lined with black and white photos of a bustling main street, a factory that's long since shuttered, and smiling families posing in front of houses that now sit empty. There's a history here, one that's been left to gather dust, and it's got Ellie's mind racing. She's always been a sucker for a good mystery. Blame it on all those true crime podcasts she binges on her commute. But this isn't just a story she's listening to. It's one she's living. When Mabel slides a slice of pie in front of her, unasked, Ellie seizes the chance to probe. She asks about the town, about the photos, about why Willow Creek feels like it's holding its breath. Mabel's smile is tight, her words careful, but she lets slip that the town used to be something special, back when the factory was running and people believed in dreams bigger than themselves. Then, just as quickly, she clams up, muttering something about dishes in the back. It's a dodge, and Ellie knows it. You can feel her frustration, can't you? That moment when you're so close to the truth, but someone pulls it out of reach. But Mabel's not the only one with answers. There's a girl, maybe 19, who's been hanging around the diner, sketching in a notebook and stealing glances at Ellie. Her name's Sarah, and she's got a nervous energy, like she's waiting for something to happen. When Ellie catches her eye, Sarah hesitates, then slides into the booth across from her, whispering that not everyone in Willow Creek is happy about Ellie poking around. It's a warning, but it's also a spark, because now Ellie knows there's something to find. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about Jake. He's back at his garage, elbow deep in the guts of Ellie's car, but his mind's not on the engine. Jake's lived in Willow Creek his whole life, and he's got roots here that go deeper than the oak trees lining Main Street. He's the kind of guy who knows everyone's name, who fixes cars for free when someone's down on their luck, who carries the weight of this town like it's his job. But there's a shadow over him, one that Ellie's starting to notice. It's in the way his hands pause when she asks about his family, the way his laugh doesn't quite reach his eyes. Jake's got a past, and it's not just the usual small-town baggage. There's a story the locals don't talk about, one that involves a fire at the old factory, a tragedy that changed Willow Creek forever. Jake was just a kid when it happened, but it left a mark. On him, on the town, on everyone who was there. You can sense it, can't you? That feeling when someone's carrying a secret so heavy it's practically a physical thing. Ellie's drawn to Jake, not just because of the way he makes her heart skip or the easy way he teases her about her city girl habits. It's because she sees something in him, a pain, a truth, that mirrors something in her own life. Ellie's got her own scars, you see. A broken engagement, a family she doesn't talk to, a life that looks perfect on paper but feels like it's missing something. She didn't come to Willow Creek looking for answers, but now that she's here, she's starting to wonder if this town might hold them. Now let's introduce a new thread, because this story's got layers, and you're gonna love how they weave together. Sarah, the girl from the diner, isn't just a bystander. She's got her own reasons for watching Ellie, and they're tied to a subplot that's been simmering in Willow Creek for years. Sarah's mom used to work at the factory, back before the fire, and she was one of the few who got out alive. But she never talked about that night, not to Sarah, not to anyone. All Sarah knows is that her mom left town a few years later, leaving her with her grandma and a box of old letters she was told never to open. Sarah's been itching to dig into those letters, to understand why her mom ran and what she was running from. When Ellie shows up, asking questions about the town's past, Sarah sees a chance to uncover the truth, but also a risk. Because there are people in Willow Creek who don't want that box opened, who don't want the past dragged into the light. Sarah's torn, and you can feel her struggle, can't you? That push and pull between fear and curiosity, between loyalty to her town and a need to know who her mom really was. She's not sure if Ellie's a threat or an ally, but she's starting to think their paths crossed for a reason. And you, watching this, you're starting to see it too. The way these lives are tangled, the way this town's secrets are pulling everyone together like a net. The tension's building now, and Ellie's right in the middle of it. She's staying at a small bed and breakfast run by a woman named Clara, who's got a warm smile, but a habit of locking certain doors and changing the subject when Ellie asks about the town's history. Clara's husband, Tom, is a retired sheriff, and he's got a different kind of energy. Gruff, watchful, like he's sizing Ellie up every time she walks by. One night, as Ellie's heading to her room, she overhears them arguing in hushed tones about that girl and stirring things up. Are they talking about her? Or someone else? The words stick with her, burrowing into her thoughts as she lies awake, staring at the ceiling. She's starting to feel like she's being watched, like every move she makes is being noted. It's not just paranoia. There's a moment when she's walking back from the diner, and she swears she sees a figure in the shadows, gone when she turns to look. You know that chill down your spine when you feel eyes on you? That's what Ellie's feeling. and it's got her second-guessing everything. Is Jake being straight with her, or is he part of whatever's going on? Is Sarah trying to help, or is she playing her own game? And why does Ellie keep dreaming about a fire she's never seen, a blaze that feels so real she wakes up gasping? These questions are piling up, and you're right there with her, hooked on every clue, every hint of what's coming. Let's zoom out for a second and think about Willow Creek itself. This town's not just a backdrop, it's a character, with a pulse and a past that's starting to bleed into the present. The factory fire wasn't just a tragedy. It was a turning point, the moment Willow Creek went from thriving to surviving. Some say it was an accident, a spark in the wrong place at the wrong time. Others whisper about sabotage, about debts and grudges that ran deeper than anyone admitted. Ellie's starting to hear these whispers, catching fragments of stories from the locals she meets. A gas station clerk who mutters about bad blood. A librarian who hands her an old newspaper clipping then pretends it was a mistake. Each piece is a breadcrumb, leading her closer to the truth, but also deeper into danger. Because the more Ellie digs, the more she realizes that some people in Willow Creek will do anything to keep the past buried. There's a moment when she's alone in the garage, waiting for Jake, and she finds a locked drawer in his desk, the kind that screams secrets. She doesn't open it, not yet, but the temptation's there, and you can feel her heartbeat quicken, can't you? That mix of fear and thrill when you're on the edge of something big. Ellie's not sure what she's looking for, but she knows it's tied to Jake, to Sarah, to the fire, to this town that's starting to feel less like a detour and more like a destination. As the days pass, Ellie's life in Willow Creek starts to take shape, almost against her will. She's helping out at the diner, trading banter with Mabel, sketching designs in her notebook when no one's looking. She's spending more time with Jake, who's teaching her how to change a tire and making her laugh in a way she hasn't in years. There's a warmth to these moments, a sense of belonging that's sneaking up on her. But it's not all cozy small-town vibes. Sarah's getting bolder, slipping Ellie a note with a date and a name. Someone connected to the factory, someone who might know what really happened. Clara's watching her closer, and Tom started dropping by the garage, asking Jake questions that sound casual but feel like warnings. The dreams are getting worse, too, vivid, haunting, filled with smoke and screams and a face Ellie can't quite place. You're feeling it now, aren't you? The way the pieces are starting to fit, but the picture's still blurry. You're wondering what's in that drawer, what Sarah's note means, what Jake's not telling her. And most of all, you're wondering why Ellie's car still isn't fixed, why she's not pushing harder to leave. Is it just the pull of the mystery, the spark with Jake, or is something else keeping her here? Something she doesn't even understand yet? The answers are coming, but not yet. Because just as Ellie's about to confront Jake to demand the truth, she finds something in her room at the bed and breakfast. Something that wasn't there before, something that makes her blood run cold and changes everything she thought she knew. Ellie's heart is pounding as she stands frozen in her room at Clara's bed and breakfast, staring at the object she's just found tucked under her pillow, a small, tarnished locket. Its clasp rusted but still intact, with a faded photograph inside. The image is blurry, but it shows a young woman who looks eerily like Ellie, standing in front of the old Willow Creek factory, her smile bright but her eyes haunted. Ellie's never seen this locket before, never even been to this town until her car broke down, but holding it feels like touching a memory that isn't hers. Her mind races with questions. Who put it here? Why does this woman look like her? And why does it feel like the room's closing in? Like the walls of this quiet little town are whispering secrets she's not ready to hear. You're right there with her, aren't you? That shiver down your spine, that mix of dread and curiosity that's got you glued to this story. This isn't just a mystery anymore. It's personal, and the stakes just shot through the roof. Ellie's been digging into Willow Creek's past, chasing clues about Jake, Sarah, and the factory fire. But this locket is a game changer, a twist that's about to pull her deeper into a web she didn't even know she was caught in. Let's keep going, because this trending YouTube tale of romance, drama, and small-town secrets is about to take a turn you won't see coming. The locket isn't the only thing shaking Ellie up. Just hours ago she was ready to confront Jake, to demand answers about the locked drawer in his garage, the way he tenses when she mentions the fire, the note Sarah slipped her with a name, Margaret Hayes, and a date that matches the night the factory burned. But now, with this locket burning a hole in her pocket, Ellie's not sure who she can trust. Jake's been nothing but kind, fixing her car, sharing stories about growing up in Willow Creek, making her feel like she could belong here. But there's that shadow in his eyes, that hesitation when she gets too close to the truth. She heads to the garage, her resolve wavering, only to find Jake arguing with Tom, the retired sheriff, their voices low but heated. They stop when they see her, but not before she catches the words, "She's getting too close," and "It's not safe." Her stomach twists. Are they talking about her? About the locket? About Margaret Hayes? You know that feeling when you overhear something you weren't meant to, and suddenly everyone's a suspect? That's where Ellie is, and it's got her questioning everything. Jake's intentions, Sarah's cryptic warnings, even her own reasons for staying in this town. But she's not backing down. She's got that fire in her, the kind that makes you keep pushing even when you're scared, and you're rooting for her, aren't you? You want her to crack this mystery, to figure out what's tying her to Willow Creek, because you're just as invested as she is. Let's pull back and weave in Sarah's subplot, because it's about to collide with Ellie's in a way that'll leave your jaw on the floor. Sarah's been wrestling with her own demons, sneaking peeks at those letters her mom left behind, the ones her grandma told her to leave alone. Last night, she finally worked up the nerve to open one, and what she found wasn't just a letter, it was a confession. Her mom wrote about the factory fire, about a deal gone wrong, about someone named Margaret who knew too much and paid the price. Sarah's hands shook as she read, because Margaret Hayes wasn't just a name. She was someone her mom loved, someone who disappeared after the fire, someone the town erased from its story. Sarah's always felt like an outsider in Willow Creek, like she's carrying a weight she didn't choose, and now she knows why. But here's the twist. When Sarah sees Ellie at the diner the next morning, she notices the locket dangling from Ellie's pocket, the same locket her mom described in the letter, down to the tiny scratch on its edge. Sarah's breath catches. How does Ellie have it? Is she connected to Margaret? To the fire? Sarah's torn between telling Ellie everything and running the other way, because if the wrong people find out she's been digging, she could end up like her mom, gone. You're feeling the tension now, aren't you? The way Sarah's story is tangling with Ellie's. The way every clue is raising more questions than answers. This is the kind of drama that keeps you up at night, scrolling through YouTube for more. Back to Ellie, because the locket's not the only bombshell she's dealing with. After leaving the garage, she heads to the library, hoping to track down that newspaper clipping the librarian, accidentally, gave her. The librarian, Mrs. Grayson, is reluctant, her hands trembling as she pulls out a box of old records. But Ellie's persistent, and she finds an article about the fire, a grainy photo of the factory in flames, a list of names, and a mention of Margaret Hayes, a worker who went missing that night. The article calls it a tragedy, but there's a line about unanswered questions that makes Ellie's skin prickle. She's so caught up she doesn't notice Mrs. Grayson watching her, doesn't see the older woman slip out to make a phone call. When Ellie leaves, she's got the article tucked in her bag, but she's also got a shadow, someone following her through the quiet streets of Willow Creek. You know that heart-pounding moment when you realize you're not alone? That's Ellie, clutching the locket, her mind spinning with possibilities. Is Margaret the woman in the photo? Did she die in the fire, or did she disappear for a reason? And why does Ellie feel like she's being pulled toward the factory, like it's calling her name? The stakes are higher now, because this isn't just about a broken car or a spark with Jake. It's about a truth that could unravel Willow Creek, and Ellie's own life. Here's where things get wild. Ellie decides to visit the factory ruins, driven by a gut feeling she can't shake. The site's on the edge of town, overgrown with weeds, the charred skeleton of the building looming like a ghost. It's creepy, the kind of place you'd see in a trending YouTube ghost hunting video, but Ellie's not here for thrills. She's here for answers. As she steps through the rusted gate, the locket in her pocket feels heavier, almost warm. She's poking around, snapping photos with her phone, when she hears a noise, a footstep, too deliberate to be an animal. Before she can turn, someone grabs her arm, and she's face to face with Jake. His expression is a mix of fear and anger, and for a split second, she thinks he's going to hurt her. But he's not attacking. He's warning. "You can't be here," he says, his voice low, urgent. "You don't know what you're stirring up." Ellie's ready to fire back to demand the truth, but then they hear it, a low rumble like the ground itself is groaning. The factory's old foundation shifts, and a section of the floor collapses, revealing a hidden chamber below. Jake pulls Ellie back just in time, but they both see it, a metal box, half buried in the rubble, glinting in the fading light. You're on the edge of your seat now, aren't you? What's in that box? Why is Jake so desperate to keep Ellie away? And how does the locket tie into all of this? This is the kind of plot twist that makes you hit that subscribe button, because you need to know what happens next. The subplots are tightening now, pulling everyone toward a collision. Sarah's at home, reading another letter, this one mentioning a plan to expose something at the factory, something worth killing for. She's terrified but determined, and she's starting to think Ellie might be the only person she can trust. Meanwhile, Clara and Tom are at the bed and breakfast, their argument escalating as Tom insists they handle Ellie before she digs too deep. Clara's reluctant, but Tom's got a look in his eye that says he's done waiting. And then there's Mabel, who's been watching from the diner, slipping a note of her own into Ellie's coat pocket when she's not looking, a warning or maybe a clue. Ellie doesn't find it yet, but when she does, it's going to change everything. The locket, the box, the letters, the fire, they're all connected, and Ellie's at the center, whether she wants to be or not. She's back at the bed and breakfast now, Jake's warning echoing in her head, the locket burning a hole in her hand. She's about to open it again, to study the photo, when there's a knock at her door. It's late, too late for visitors, and her heart stops as she hears a voice she doesn't recognize, low and urgent, saying her name. Who's there? What do they want? And why does Ellie feel like opening that door will either save her or doom her? You're hooked, aren't you? This story's got you, and it's not letting go until every secret's out in the open. But we're not there yet, so stick with me, because the next part's gonna blow your mind. Ellie's hand hovers over the doorknob, her breath caught in her throat as the unfamiliar voice calls her name again, soft but insistent, from the other side of the door at Clara's bed and breakfast. The locket still clutched in her other hand, its weight grounding her as her mind races through everything. The factory's hidden chamber, Jake's frantic warning, Sarah's cryptic note, the photo of a woman who looks like her. She's been chasing answers in Willow Creek, unraveling a mystery that's tangled her life with this town's buried past, and now it feels like the truth is about to crash through that door. You're right there with her, aren't you? Heart pounding, wondering who's out there, what they know, and whether Ellie's ready for the answers she's been chasing. This is it, the moment this trending YouTube story of romance, drama, and small-town secrets builds to its climax, where every clue, every question, every heartbeat leads to a resolution that'll leave you stunned. But don't blink, because just when you think you've got it figured out, there's one final twist that'll make you hit that like button and share this video with everyone you know. Let's dive into the end of Ellie's journey, because this is where it all comes together, or falls apart. Ellie opens the door, and standing there is Mabel, the diner's sharp-tongued owner, her face pale under the dim hallway light. Before Ellie can speak, Mabel steps inside, closing the door quickly and pulling a folded piece of paper from her apron, the note Ellie never found in her coat. You need to read this, Mabel says, her voice low, urgent. But you need to listen first. Mabel's not just a bystander. She's been watching Ellie since she arrived, piecing together her own suspicions about the locket, the factory, and the fire that changed Willow Creek. She tells Ellie about Margaret Hayes, the woman in the locket's photo, who wasn't just a factory worker but Mabel's sister. And impossibly, Ellie's mother. The revelation hits Ellie like a freight train. She's never known her mom, raised by a distant aunt after being told her parents died when she was a baby. But Mabel's story paints a different picture. Margaret was investigating corruption at the factory, a scheme involving stolen funds and dangerous men, including Tom, the retired sheriff, who was on the take back then. The fire wasn't an accident, it was set to cover their tracks, and Margaret disappeared that night, presumed dead, to protect her unborn child, Ellie. You're feeling the weight of this, aren't you? The way it rewrites Ellie's entire life. The way it ties her to Willow Creek in a way she never imagined. But there's no time to process, because Mabel's not done. The metal box in the factory's hidden chamber holds proof. Documents, recordings, Margaret's own notes. That could expose the truth and bring Tom and his allies down. And Tom knows Ellie's close to finding it. The climax hits as Ellie, Mabel and Sarah, who's been listening from the hallway, drawn by her own discoveries, decide they have to act. Sarah's letters confirmed her mom was Margaret's friend, silenced by fear after the fire, and she's ready to fight for the truth. They head to the factory under cover of night, hearts racing, knowing Tom's been watching, knowing Jake's caught in the middle. Jake's there when they arrive, and for a moment, Ellie thinks he's betrayed her, his face unreadable in the moonlight. But Jake's not the enemy. He's been wrestling with his own guilt, knowing his father, a factory foreman, died in the fire to protect the cover-up. Jake's been trying to shield Ellie, not stop her, and now he's all in. They find the box, but just as they pry it open, Tom appears, his gun gleaming, his voice cold as he demands they hand it over. The tension's electric, the kind of moment that makes you lean closer to the screen, because everything's on the line. Ellie's past, Sarah's closure, Jake's redemption, Mabel's justice. Ellie steps forward, the locket in her hand, and does something unexpected. She talks. She tells Tom she knows about Margaret, about the fire, about the lives he ruined. Her voice shakes, but it's steady enough to make Tom falter, to buy Jake time to disarm him. The box spills open. Papers, tapes, proof of the corruption, and Tom's reign of secrets crumbles. You're cheering for Ellie now, aren't you? For the way she's faced her fear. For the way this town's finally getting its reckoning. The resolution comes fast but feels earned. Tom's arrested, the evidence too damning to ignore, and Willow Creek starts to breathe again. Sarah finds peace, knowing her mom's silence was to protect her, and she burns the letters, letting go of the pain. Mabel and Ellie sit together, sharing stories about Margaret, rebuilding a bond that was stolen. Jake and Ellie, their connection deepened by the truth, decide to stay in Willow Creek, not just for each other but for the town that's now their home. Ellie's car, finally fixed, sits unused. She's not running anymore. The factory site's cleared, a memorial planned for those lost, and Willow Creek feels alive again, its secrets laid bare. You're feeling that warmth, that closure, aren't you? The way a good story wraps you up, answers your questions, makes you believe in second chances. But this isn't just a story about solving a mystery or finding love. It's about roots, about facing the past, about how sometimes the detours in life lead you exactly where you're meant to be. Ellie came to Willow Creek by accident, but she stayed by choice, and that's the kind of takeaway that sticks with you, the kind that makes you reflect on your own unexpected journeys. But wait. Here's the final twist, the one that'll leave you gasping. As Ellie and Jake walk through town, hand in hand, they pass the diner, where a new photo's been hung on the wall. It's Margaret, smiling, the locket around her neck, but there's something else, a date on the frame, a year that's impossible. It's not from the past, it's from last month, taken in a town hundreds of miles away. Mabel swears it's a mistake, but Ellie's not so sure. Was Margaret really gone all these years, or was she closer than anyone knew? Did she leave the locket for Ellie to find, a final nudge to uncover the truth? The camera lingers on Ellie's face, her eyes wide, the locket still in her pocket, and you're left wondering. Is this story really over, or is there another chapter waiting? You're buzzing now, aren't you? This is the kind of ending that makes you hit replay, that sparks debates in the comments, that keeps you coming back for more. So what do you think? Did Ellie find all the answers, or is Willow Creek still hiding something? Drop your thoughts below, subscribe for more stories like this, and let's keep unraveling the mysteries together, because this is one YouTube tale you won't forget.